Awesome. Well, thanks, Jim, and thanks to Lansing for having us. Super excited, and like you guys said, it definitely unprecedented times. But we at CompanyCam have found that our tool that we knew was pretty solid tool has been great during these times. And so, basically, what I've thrown together is some ways that CompanyCam can benefit, whether you're in pandemic times or not, through the sales all the way through the completion of the project. So I call it closing more deals with CompanyCam, but it's really being efficient, closing the deals up front, but then using those closed deals to hopefully build advocates and raving fans. So, what we'll talk about today, I'll give you a quick on who I am, what CompanyCam is, and then how people are winning with CompanyCam. As Jim said multiple times, ask questions. I love questions that'll steer the ship in the direction you guys want it to be steered. We can go completely off script as well if we need to. So with that, jump in with who I am. First off, I'll shout out my green screen here. So I'm not quite an expert on all of the softwares yet, so I don't know how to use the green screen on Cisco WebEx. It's usually got a cool background, but today it's just going to be green. Uh, but who I am, I was a former middle school teacher for 3 years, became a high school athletic director. I coached football and basketball for 10 years. So I lived in the education world outside of when I got out of college, even during college, I was coaching. And I lived in the education world and was lucky enough to land with CompanyCam. Um, Basically on the ground level, I'm one of the first employees with CompanyCam, and I transitioned from cold calling new contractors saying, "Hey, you want to check out our product?" to now I'm our director of education. So that's kind of who I am. Obviously, you can see I'm a father and a husband. That little guy in the Mickey shirt had a birthday yesterday, just turned 5. And I'm a homeowner. So I love to let people know when I do these that I'm a homeowner. And the big reason for that is I've got a unique perspective on the industry because I never was a contractor. So I've learned enough to be dangerous in the contracting world, but I also own a home, so I can kind of speak on both angles there. So before we jump in, what is CompanyCam? So if you're not familiar at all with CompanyCam, I'll give you a quick elevator pitch here of CompanyCam, and then we'll talk specifically about some of the tools. So if you are a CompanyCam user, you're still going to be able to get a lot out of this. If you're completely new to CompanyCam, you'll hopefully learn how to use CompanyCam um, when you start it. So CompanyCam, we are a documentation and communication tool. So like I said, we were built for the contracting world, and we didn't realize it, but we were built for pandemic times. Document and communicate what's going on your job sites. We are a real-time solution. So what that means is uh, everything that you're doing, capturing in the field is available in real time to everybody in your company. So instead of having to upload or send or attach or do any of those type of tasks with your photos, videos, notes, documents in the field, with CompanyCam, as soon as you've captured them, they're instantly available. So very efficient, real time. You can see what's happening as it's happening. And we're a CYA solution. And we'll talk about that throughout here. But we're a great way to cover your backside, make sure your company is in good position with documentation and communication. So the problem that CompanyCam solved, like I said, we're a communication documentation tool. We're born out of the roofing world here in Lincoln, Nebraska, and a roofing company that was ahead of the game in terms of documenting. They were taking pictures on digital cameras. They were bringing chips in at the end of the day, and they were uploading those photos. And the two big problems were by the time they'd get the photos uploaded, a lot of times it was too late. The value of the photo was gone, or when they actually needed to use the photo days, weeks, months down the road, they knew they had it, but they had no way of actually finding it. It would take forever to dig and find those photos. So CompanyCam was born to solve those issues, help get all of your people on the same page, save you time, and avoid customer disputes. And we'll talk about how CompanyCam does that here in just a second. those that have maybe never seen CompanyCam, this is just a screenshot of what the app would look like on your phone. So it's an app that you would use on your phone or tablet in the field. It also has a web version that you can use back in the office. But you see, everything's going to be organized by location. So as soon as you confirm where you're at, everything you do is now going to be stored by that location until you tell it that you're at a different location. You know exactly who and when a photo or video was taken. And like I said, it's instantly available so that your whole team has access to it. So let's win. How do I win with CompanyCam, or how do I win in general? I want to talk about the 4 stages: sales, production, completion, collection, and marketing. We'll breeze through the production and completion first, and then we'll talk a little more in depth on how CompanyCam really helps with those areas. But first, sales and what to know. And this isn't CompanyCam. This isn't me telling you what to do with sales. But these are just facts. People make quick judgments. So keep that in mind. They're going to make quick judgments. They want security and comfort. I love giving this one to roofing contractors. Siding's a little different. You may do this, but I always joke with roofing contractors and say, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, you know what? I want a new color roof. I'm just dying to get a new roof put on. They never wake up with that. Now, you may wake up in the morning and have a leak or have a branch or something, and you need that security and comfort. Siding's probably a little different, but I can't imagine that there's a lot of snap decisions on siding. You want to make sure that your house looks good. You want to make sure that your house is well taken care of. But at the end of the day, you want security, you want comfort. People will shop around. It's inevitable, no matter how great you are at sales. They may be shopping around on Google while they're talking to you. You may be right in front of them, and they may be scrolling through seeing what other contractors are out there. And homeowners want to know why. Why do I need to do this? Why does it cost this much? Those kind of things. And so we'll talk about that here. Communication within sales. And so obviously CompanyCam being a communication tool, I love to talk about how important communication is when you're trying to sell. I love the line, shut up and listen. It's awesome in the contracting space. Just tell them why you're there. If you're door knocking, if they called you, you already know what's going on. Give them the floor. Let them tell you everything that's going on. And then once you hear what they want, what their problem is, what their desires are, now you can start to paint pictures for them and paint the possible solutions, and then educate. Okay, so here's a couple possible pictures that we could paint. And then these are going to be the solutions that get us to that particular solution that we decide. And then transparency. It's very, very important to be transparent through the whole process. Make sure that you're showing and telling them as much as you can. I'll show you that here in 1 second. But like I said, shut up and listen. Your client's going to tell you their concerns. You can obviously ask questions as needed, but oftentimes they're going to tell you things that they may want done, or maybe their concern is paying for it. How do I pay for this? Well, now it's not a matter of, well, what type of color or material, what do they want here? It's as soon as I get them to understand that, hey, we've got ways to make it affordable for you, whether that's financing, whatever it is in your business, they're going to be fine. They're going to take their guard down. That's so important. So find out what their concerns are. They're going to give you all the ammo that you need. As far as the picture that you're going to paint, I love CompanyCam right here. So a couple things. You can paint that picture via the report. So you can create PDF reports in CompanyCam, and you can say, here's the picture. This is what you currently have. And then you can see some annotations on those photos. You can mark it up and you can tell them, hey, we're going to remove this, we're going to add this, we'll fix this. You can create that same effect as a gallery. A lot faster to create a gallery than the PDF report. A little less professional looking. As you can see, it's just a gallery of photos. You can't add any extra notes. You can mark up the photos and that will come through. but you aren't able to add any extra notes that you could add in the report. And then you got on early, I was talking to Jim about this, the timeline feature. And 6 months ago, I would breeze through the timeline feature. Now I'm going to tell you every single job you run needs a timeline shared with the homeowner, whether the homeowner's at the property with you or not. Um, the timeline is so valuable. What that is, and whether they're walking the property with you or not, it's a live link. So every picture, every video, every annotation you make, they're going to be able to see that in real time. So maybe they can't make it out for the appointment, but they're at the office. No problem. Maybe because of COVID, they don't want to walk the property with you. No problem. Sit in your living room. Here's a link. Every picture we take is going to come through to you. And when we go back and we think, paint the picture, wow, if I set the stage of these are going to be the possible things we're looking for. And then now when I get to this timeline, I'm taking pictures and videos and making notes that they're following along with. So they're seeing me paint the picture, seeing me tell that story as it's being told. Uh, we found that this feature is extremely valuable in selling
Hey, Michael.
jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's so interesting that you talk about this right now. I just got back from unsocial distancing for a weekend to go see my father for Father's Day. And as you talk about this timeline feature and the ability to kind of mark up as you're kind of going through it, it's really cool to me because when we got out there to his place, my wife said to me as we get out of the car, "What's all the stuff all over his side of his house?" And it was because he had a contractor come out to mark up, kind of like areas where he needed to have work done as he's looking to get his house resided. And so then we had a conversation the whole day about like how CompanyCam essentially can take the place of like putting marks all over somebody's house as they work through the decision-making process, right? And now they have this resource they can kind of sit and stew on, and they're not having to necessarily like show all the neighbors, what's wrong with their home potentially as they wait to kind of make their decision.
Absolutely. And like I think that no, I think that's a great point. I love that you said, as they're stewing on it, what better way than to make sure they have this timeline? Throw a few videos into your timeline, point things out on video and say, and what we're going to do here is this, this, and this. So really hammer home the places where, you're going to transform that property so that as they're stewing on it, they have this nice video that they can go back to. And refer to. It's the timeline is so valuable. And like I said, we did a poor job selling with the timeline ourselves. We didn't think it was that valuable of a feature. COVID came along and I started to quickly realize, man, this is an awesome tool. Here's just a couple quotes on the timeline. You can read these. I'm going to draw particular attention to the one on the right. Again, I'm a homeowner. So if I was sending this text, I'm going to be the gray box and the contractor's the blue box. And I can't even fathom sending this text message. Matt, you guys are animals. Thanks for putting the pictures out there. So basically, Matt is a exterior contractor. He does roofing, siding, windows, gutters, and he uses the timeline feature really well. And this homeowner was so amazed that he was getting photos as they were being taken that he called Matt an animal. Man, you're an animal for doing this. I can't fathom saying that, but obviously this tool wows the customer. The customer was so impressed. Um, and that's how you create these raving fans. So when I talk about closing more deals, yeah, he probably closed that guy on that sale, but you get somebody to say, hey, these guys are animals. This guy probably didn't just stop there. He probably told his friends, his family, his coworkers about the great job that these guys did. So use CompanyCam, leverage that communication aspect, and it's going to pay great dividends for you. Educate on the solution. And so as you're doing this timeline or as you're creating that PDF report, um, educate on what you're going to do. It's super easy to lay out, make a little note on a photo, point things out. So as Jim was saying, instead of having to chalk up the whole house, do that in CompanyCam. What's also great about this is now when your installation team goes out to do it, say you close the job, they have a very clear blueprint of what they're getting into. make them a little more efficient, make sure they take the right things to the job with them. So just a really nice tool there. And then finally, create transparency. And a lot of irony on this photo because conceptually, Verizon's unlimited plan is a great idea. I don't love Verizon. I have Verizon. Um, but the point is, homeowners want easy. They want solutions that they can understand. So find ways to communicate that to them. Obviously, pictures are a real easy way. We're going to replace all of this. We're going to, put X's on the things you're going to remove, circle the things that may stay. Make it really easy for them to see what's going to go into that job. Make it so they don't feel like they're getting nickeled and dimed as the job's being done. Um, Finish sales up here with documentation. I'm big on expectations, set and deliver those expectations. Use CompanyCam to communicate and say it right up front. Here's your timeline link. We're going to communicate with you throughout this process. Whatever fits your company, communicate that to the homeowner, and then just make sure you deliver on that expectation. Can't remember the contractor, but early on, um, I was talking to him. I was like, man, you got so many reviews. Because when I would cold call, I would just pick companies with a lot of reviews that were good reviews, figure out these probably are big companies. And it wasn't a huge company. I said, how do you get so many reviews? He's like, oh, we tell the homeowner what to expect. We help them set the expectations for the job. So that way, when we're done, we've delivered because we know exactly what expectations they have. And we just ask for a review. And we'll talk about that. But set and deliver expectations. Note previous damage. I've got a couple slides at the end on this, but if I owned a contracting company, it would irk me to no end if I had to pay for things that were damaged on a property that we didn't actually damage. And I think it would probably bother me more than anything if we didn't know if we damaged it or not. So take pictures, document that whole job site prior to doing any work, even if it's outside of the scope of why you're there. You're working on the house and there's some trees in the back that have some damage, note it. Playground has some damage, note it. Document, document, document. Um, and that comes down to a process. So build that process for your team. And then any concerns or asks that a client has, record those. They're going to be valuable throughout the job and they help to create that level of transparency. So production. So hopefully, and like I said, if you have questions, please fire those at me. But production, couple things that I feel are very important throughout production. Continue to educate. So I think it's important to educate your homeowner on the start and in the sales process, but continue to educate as things change or to even communicate where you're at in the process. Hey, remember when we told you we were going to do X, Y, and Z? Yeah, we're actually on Y right now. And you can see that here. Pictures, CompanyCam, obviously a great way to do that. Document any change orders, anything that's changing throughout the process. Make sure you're taking pictures of it, documenting that. Obviously helps with that transparency at the end of the job. Um, Communication is still very, very important through this stage of the process. To me, in the sales process is where you build a customer, potentially build a client. Um, the production and completion stages are where you build raving fans. So yeah, they signed on the dotted line for you, but during the production and actually delivering on what you said you would do, that's where you're going to build those raving fans that are going to go out and tell other people about you. And then finally, remember the look of the job site. This can be taken for granted, I think, sometimes, but what's it look like to the guy that's driving down the road, looking at his neighbor's house? Make sure that you preach that. One nice thing with CompanyCam where it's real time, having your team take pictures periodically of the progress and those things, you're going to be able to see what did the job site look like throughout this production without actually having to drive job site to job site.
Hey, Michael, can you talk a little bit about how that might be useful when you're managing production crews for a PM or for business owners, trying to make sure that the production is happening on time, that materials are being delivered, utilized at a certain rate, and things like that?
Yep, I'm actually going to do that. I'll do that on this slide right here. So obviously, CompanyCam's real time, so it's not going to solve all of your problems as far as being able to manage all your job sites. You have to put a process in, and you have to get your guys to use CompanyCam. But it's super easy to use. So once you get them using it, yeah, now I can monitor what's going on multiple job sites. I've got contractors, and you can see it in this upper left-hand corner where we have a tag for clocking in and clocking out. So tagging is really awesome. It will tie a label to a photo. I've got contractors that use CompanyCam as their tagging or their clock in, clock out system by tagging because everything's timestamped, dated, and geotagged. So they get to a job site, their process is take a picture with them in it in the on the job site, tag that clock in, clock out when you go to lunch or whatever. So just really easy ways to make sure, hey, what's going on the job, and what are basically you can get whatever's important to you as a business owner. If that's not important, don't worry about having them do that. We'll talk later on safety. I've got a lot of contractors that safety is a huge priority for them. Well, you can't be at all of your job sites at the same time, so have them take a picture of their toolbox talk in the morning. Obviously, you are going to know exactly what they were talking about, but you're at least going to know that they had that cross their mind and they followed a process. Another thing that is really valuable here is the mentioning feature. So communicating internally. So a lot of the communication I've talked about so far is external communication. The mentioning here, and it's kind of hard to see, but in this image, Tim is bolded. And so this works just like any mention that you would have on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and it serves like a text message alert on your phone. So Tim, what does the client want done here? And then Tim's able to go into the photo and see exactly what it is. Um, and then he's able to reply. The only thing I would say on this image that I don't like is he uses a voice note, and we do have voice notes available. I would always encourage voice to text. Reason being, those reports that I was showing earlier, if you have text in there, that can all be pulled into the report. If you don't have text in there, you would then have to recreate the text. So voice notes are nice. Only downside is if you're going to use that at any point in time later, you'd have to retype it. So I always just encourage voice to text. It's essentially the same speed, but then that text can be reused. But that's a great way for that PM to oversee multiple jobs. Um, and now whoever's in the field can ask questions, takes them right into the photo. Because when I talk to contractors, a lot of times they say, yeah, my guys call me and they say this, this, and this. And I end with that conversation with, send me a picture. So then they send me a picture, and now all of that communication's done via text as opposed to being done in CompanyCam where it's stored. So you have then a transparency level within your company of seeing what conversation was going on here. Rick, why did you do that? Oh, look, Tim told me to do it that way. Like, here it is. It's all right there. Um, and then obviously the annotations. These are huge in the sales process, but they're equally as important in the production process, laying out exactly what's going to go into a particular job. Jim, does that kind of answer your question there?
That does. Thanks very much.
Yep. All right, we'll talk completion and collection, and then we'll talk in a little more in depth on some of the CompanyCam features. Um, from a homeowner's perspective, I want an easy to read final invoice. I want pictures, 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 videos, whatever. Show me what you did because I don't understand a lot of the verbiage that goes into it. I use the example of decking on a roof. When I first started with CompanyCam, I would have never thought to say that my deck had or my roof had a deck on it. And so using pictures and videos to explain things in that final invoice, very important. Be their contractor. Use CompanyCam to get future work. I'm going to show you that here in a second, and then get the review. You guys have to ask for the review. Maybe you share a before and after, which I'll show you here in a second, and you say, hey, hopefully you really enjoyed the work. We appreciated working with you in your business. Here's a link, click in it, and if you could give us a review, that'd be great. How about this one, the future work with CompanyCam? So maybe we do windows and siding, or maybe we do windows, siding, roofing, whatever trades we do. We talked about tagging, which are going to be tied to a photo, but every project has the ability to have a label on it. So I just used the example here of 2023 windows. I've got a contractor up in the Dakotas doing this, has great success with it. Everything that they see on a property that maybe doesn't need done today, but may need done in the future, they say, hey, Mr. Jones, looks like your windows are, maybe close to the end of their lifespan, but they're not needing replaced today. We'd be more than happy to replace them today. But they probably got a year or two left. I'll reach out to you in a couple years and we can give them another look. Just build such great rapport with that homeowner. But what happens is you either say, I'll call you, or you tell the homeowner to give you a call in a couple years. Neither person remembers. CompanyCam allows you to label your projects. So maybe we did the siding today, we didn't do the gutters. But in 2023, or the windows. In 2023, we may need to do those windows. We can label that project 2023 space, whatever trade we're going to do. And then we can filter Jan 1 or end of December in 2022. We can filter all of our projects by that year of 2023. And we can see everything that we've said, this is a future project for us. So even if it's a job where you go and quote it and you don't get it, maybe because now is not the right time, you can then easily find those projects, look at the photos, and then follow up with those people. So I love using the project labels for getting future work. Just a great way to build that rapport with the homeowner. My wife had some issues with her car here recently. We took the car in, and it was a tire shop, and they said, the tread on these things, you're probably going to want to look at getting these done here before winter, but I would go ahead and continue to drive this if it were my car through the summer and just have us check it again. They instantly built rapport with me they could have said, hey, you need new front tires. I thought I might actually need new front tires. And they said, you're going to need them. You're fine for a little while. Builds that rapport. You can do the same thing in CompanyCam with any trades that you guys do.
Hey, Michael,
Yeah.
Question came in here around, you talked quite a bit about sharing pictures back and forth with the homeowners, which I think is awesome. One of the questions that came in is, what about the homeowners have access to everything that the company shares within itself, or with just what it was sent to the homeowner? So in other words, if I'm a homeowner and you're working on my home, do I get to see the pictures you share with me directly, or do I get to see all the pictures as you work through on the project?
Great question. And the simple answer is whatever you wish as the contractor. So I'll just fly back to that slide here. So these are the 3 ways to share photos with CompanyCam: report, timeline, gallery. Report is going to be just the photos you decided to put into the report. That report will never change, and that's going to go to the homeowner, and that's what they get. Same is true with gallery. They're going to get a selected number of photos at a given time. They have those. The timeline is a little bit interesting because it's going to be every photo that you take in CompanyCam with 2 caveats. You can turn it off at any time. So you could use it just in the sales process, and then you could turn it off. Maybe you don't want them seeing the production photos. You'll use gallery or report for production photos. Turn the timeline off. They no longer have access to it. You also have the ability to hide photos from the timeline. So maybe you want to just leave the timeline on through the whole project. You can really easily go in and just hide a photo. So take a photo. I don't want that one in the timeline. I'm going to hide that photo. So hopefully that answers the question, but report and gallery are concrete. No new photos are going to be added in there. It's just selected photos. Timeline is going to be everything. However, you can turn that timeline off at any particular time, and you can also hide photos from the timeline as well. Marketing. So I love CompanyCam for marketing. I think that marketing, what I found about contractors is contractors are great salespeople. They love to go out and sell, sell, sell. Sometimes marketing falls by the wayside just because they're good salespeople. They go in the door knock or run another appointment and they close at a high rate, so they don't see the value sometimes in marketing. But you do so much stuff that's just great marketing material. Uh, Document your work. Find a way to share the process out as a marketing angle. Maybe it's that timeline. Maybe you say specifically, we're doing a cool project and we're going to let you follow along with this project. And you share the timeline out on your social media, and then people can follow along with that project. Um, Communicate reviews. So it's obviously important to get reviews, but then once you get good reviews, market those good reviews, communicate those, get those out in front of people, and then finally stay in front of your clients. So if you've ever done work with people, continue to target them in your marketing on social media, those things. That's just going to help get new business from those same clients. Love this stat. This is a very recent stat, but 88% of people trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. Obviously, 20 years ago, there weren't really online reviews at all. So, in a short time, it went from I trust personal recommendations to now I trust personal recommendations, but I trust online reviews equally as much. And the best example I have of this is anytime you go and choose a restaurant in a new city, you Google it, and those reviews are gospel. If someone says, it's terrible, it's got a 3-star rating, we're going somewhere else, it may be a great restaurant. So make sure that you're getting great online reviews, but then communicating those out. I mentioned before and afters. This is a must. Every job you do, especially on, exterior jobs, it's such a visual transformation. But CompanyCam allows you to get an exact before and after. You can see a lot of different templates there. They're very professional looking. They're going to have your logo on there. Create one of these on every job. Create multiple of these on every job. Build that marketing library. And then at some point, do something like this. So this is a buddy I work with in the Chicagoland area, and they did this house. And you see, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Phelps, for the business. Great job, CR crew. You guys rock. So I threw a few emojis on there for him. That's me. And then I messaged him. I was like, dude, that's an awesome post, but you need to tag the homeowners. He's like, oh, yeah, I do. And I always, if you've got your phone in front of you, I'd encourage you to even pull up your company's social media. See how many posts you have with 157 interactions or 9 shares. Those are huge numbers, and those are what get you out in front of other audiences, new friends lists, and that's a great organic reach, and it costs $0. This isn't a paid post here. This is just on their actual page, and their organic reach on this is going to be outstanding. So little things, but create those before and afters. They take seconds in CompanyCam. Share them out onto your social media. So winning with CompanyCam, obviously create that process like I talked about, deliver a home run presentation, and then make sure you're consistently communicating with the homeowner. Make sure that it's easy for you and the homeowner to communicate. Obviously, CompanyCam makes that happen. The timeline, the guest users, I didn't talk about this, but if you have some sort of situation where you need to get the homeowner to take some photos for you, you can add them as a guest user. Maybe you have a subcontractor that you don't work with very often that maybe needs to add some photos for you. Add them as a guest user, ask them to then share. What's great about the guest user is it's free. It's a little bit, it's obviously limited in some of the features, but If all you need is to get a few photos from a homeowner or a sub, guest users, they get you the photos right into CompanyCam. Now you have that real-time solution. The Homerun Presentation, like I said, use one of these three tools: report, gallery. I love the timeline. I would use the timeline every job I try to close. Production with CompanyCam, when we were talking about why is it good for me there, real-time communication, so it's efficient, creates transparency both with my team and with my homeowner, and it should make for accurate billing. I didn't talk about receipts. I don't know how often that comes about, but say you have to run to the hardware store, you have to run and grab something. I promise that receipt's not getting back to the office, and I promise someone in the office probably wants that receipt. Snap a picture of it in CompanyCam, tag that receipt, crumple it up, you're done with it. But now I can filter all of my jobs. I can filter by change orders. I can filter by pre-existing damage. I can filter by receipts. I can see, did I have any change orders? Did I have any receipts in this project? So just a really simple way. Like I said, tagging was how to do that.
Hey, Michael, as you're going through this, there's a question that came in.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of going into other spaces here around integrations. So, like, how well does CompanyCam integrate with other, business systems that people may already have working? And maybe you get that later, but I'm just asking as it comes in.
No, absolutely. That's a great question. So we refer to ourselves as Switzerland. We want to work with absolutely anybody and everybody. We have a ton of integrations. I won't get into depth on what integrations we have, but basically know that we will integrate with absolutely any software. Probably the most valuable integration is we have one with Zapier, so that if you have a one-off software that you're using that we don't have a full-on integration with, but they have a Zapier integration, we can integrate the two of them. We integrate with a lot of CRMs, but whoever asked that question, I would love to connect if you have a specific integration in mind, because those are usually things that I pursue personally. So I would love anything to go, different verticals, different types of software, because at the end of the day, CompanyCam wants to be the data capture and communication tool in the field. And we want to make it to wherever you need that data or that communication to live, we help you get it there. So that's hopefully a good answer for that. But we have a ton of integrations. We're always adding integrations, and I've yet to have us not integrate with somebody. So we've never had an integration come across our plate where we just said no. Obviously, with bandwidth, sometimes we won't be able to build it, but if they're willing to build it, we will jump right on that. I'm going to wrap up, and then I'd love to answer any questions, time permitting, with covering your backside. So this is a huge piece of CompanyCam. Pre-existing damage deliveries are huge. Here's the pre-existing damage one. If there's any damage on the property, make sure your sales guys are documenting it as they see it. Tag it pre-existing damage. It's timestamped, it's dated. Now, when the job's done, it's not, hey, everything's great on the project. However, you did this, this, and this. Have that transparency. Well, let's look. Oh, we actually have a photo showing that mailbox was already damaged May 8th, 2019 at 10:52 a.m. It's timestamped, it's dated. We know exactly what the damage was. I can't preach this one enough. Document. Bad decking. Safety obviously is an important thing. Just document it. It's kind of the elephant in the room. Usually I don't spend a ton of time on it, but it's super easy to document anything that you're doing from a safety aspect on jobs. Tag that safety, maybe tag the trade you're doing, but just a really easy way to document, hey, we have procedures in place. Our employees are supposed to be doing this, this, and this when they're doing that. Here's all of our documentation on it. And
great thing to document, just as a note to one of our previous sessions was on job site safety. So I saw that you were showing a harness there. I think it's pretty cool to be able to use CompanyCam to even note some of the things around social distancing practices, job site setups, and things like that. So we talked about kind of visual management and be able to kind of look at a job site without having to get too close and break social distancing rules or regulations, right? So easy way to do that is via CompanyCam. You can actually see the distance. And I believe that there is a ability inside there to actually use AR or something like that to actually see how far away workstations might be set up.
Yeah, and you can drop all those measurements on photos. Lots of things you can do there. I've got an uncle that works, he is a consultant for contractors, helps protect them from OSHA. And he basically said, when OSHA comes calling, it's going to be tough to get out of it, but the more ammo you have, the more documentation showing, hey, look at this. We do all of these things. This isn't how we run our business, those kind of things, the better. And so just documenting those things is, work, like you said, workstations X number of feet apart, or maybe something has to be done X number of feet from the property. Take a picture of it, make sure that it's shown. So if something does happen, there's not were they too close to the property? It's all right there. That's kind of the down and dirty on CompanyCam. I know we're kind of running up to the hour here, and I'd love to get some questions. But because you joined us today, we'd love to extend the 14-day free trial to everyone. That's unlimited photos, unlimited video, unlimited projects, full access to all of our integrations. And then we would also do 50% off of your first 2 months. And let me jump to, might be my next slide. There it is. There is all my contact information. So if you have questions, I'd love to answer those. And then to get that deal, we just did companycam.com/Lansing. So 14 days free, unlimited everything, 50% off 2 months. If you decide, hey, this is for us, decide this isn't for us, the question I always get is, can I get my photos out of there? Absolutely. It's super easy to download out of there. So we're not going to hold those hostage for you. So really nothing, other than 14 days to try it out and see if it's a fit for your company.
Awesome. We have a bunch of questions that are in here, Michael, so I want to get to them. I already went ahead and popped your information into the chat box. So anybody that's looking for Michael's contact information, it's waiting there for you. So a couple people are asking about things inside of the app. So I'm not sure if you're able to open and show them. One was around setting up job customer profiles in order for our crews to see scope of work. Is there a way to see how that works inside of the program? And then another one, which I think would be quick to show on there as well, is from the sales aspect, is this only for pictures and notes, or is there a place where we can add estimates and the bill throughout the application to use one app to do everything?
Absolutely. So I'll answer the second question first. You can definitely add other things into CompanyCam. So I'm just this is the web end of CompanyCam. So for that second question, I'll just jump in here. You can add anything you want. So photos and videos are going to live in this view. And then you can jump over. This project doesn't have any documents, but you can add absolutely any document that you want into CompanyCam in this particular tab right here. So photos and documents. And from a documentation communication standpoint, it's everything you need in CompanyCam. I don't know that I would say everything for, we're not going to replace a CRM per se. We integrate with a ton of CRMs. I can actually show some of those while I'm in here. And, but that's how you do that. Here's just a quick, while we're visually on this, these are just some of the integrations that we have: Hover, Job Nimbus, Team Up, Contractors Cloud, Drone Deploy. I mean, you can see just a ton of them, and we're always adding more. Obviously, we have this request down here: have something you want to integrate, let us know, because we want to integrate with everything. We want to get all of your field capture where you want it. And then the first...
So hang there for a second, Michael.
Yep.
I'm going to go back to that first question, but as you're in this integration, there was other questions on that too, specifically around QuickBooks desktop. and Kickserve.
What was the second one?
Kickserve, Kickserv.
So I will, if you have questions on those, and we would be more than happy to check out a direct integration. But what's great is through here, where you have to sign in. But basically, if you just go to Zapier.com, which is this bottom integration right here, you're going to be able to check and see. I know QuickBooks is going to be in here, and then I would have to check on Kickserve.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not seeing Kickserve in there. But that doesn't mean we wouldn't be able to do a simple integration with them as well. Like sometimes integrations take a day or two, and we can have something up and running. So if that's something, let me know, and we will for sure pursue that as well. First question was
setting
on
up job profiles in order for our crews to see the scope of work, etc. Is there a way to see how that works in the program?
Yep. So and what I'm going to show you is web-based, but you can do everything I'm going to show you is you can do from the mobile as well. So say I'm going to create a new project here. Let's use my house. Create a project here. So simple name is right here, address, create project. So now, once I've created that project, there's all sorts of different ways that I can communicate, scope of work, those kind of things. I could add project notes. So I could add anything I wanted in here. I could link out to things, lots of different things that I could add in there. A lot of times I see the project note used for, if there's garage door codes or, gate codes, those kind of things. And then project conversations could also house some of that stuff. And what's great is these live just on this project. So, anything that you want to communicate on a specific project can be done right here. And then if it also is, some sort of document that you've already create, you could just upload the full document in as well. So lots of different options there. One that comes to mind is we have the integration with Sumo Quote, where you're able to create, use photos from CompanyCam and create a really nice, clean quote. Those quotes can live right here in the Documents tab. And so you would use the photos that you take up front, build the quote, and then that quote can live right here so that you try to keep your production team just in one spot so they know, hey, everything that we need is going to be in the job. And then it's kind of where you guys house it, those kind of things. But lots of different places that you can add as much information as you want within the project.
Quick shout out to Sumo Quote there. They actually are partnering with us for a webinar coming up in just 2 days as well. Same time, same place. So
they're on Thursday.
If you that want to join that webinar, you can reach out to your Lansing branch and they'll direct you on where to register for that. We'll have Ryan Chance, the owner of Sumo Quote, going through keys to building a good proposal. He's got like 5 quick keys, which are pretty awesome. So quick shout out there. I don't see any other chats or questions in the chat or comments in the chat. So as we wrap here, first, I want to make everybody aware that if you're on this webinar and you have more questions or want to get engaged or in touch with CompanyCam, you can reach out to customer.marketing@lansingbp.com and they'll help direct your questions or comments to the appropriate party. Generally, that'll probably be Michael, right?
Yep.
Did have one more question coming here. Sorry. On same project, can we separate different locations, almost like different files, such as family room, dining room, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so like think about like window work versus siding work versus maybe a deck or something like that, right?
Yep, absolutely. So you could have multiple projects on the same address if that's the route you want to go. And so we've tried to make this as customizable for your company as possible. So basically every time I jump on here and do something, test wise, I do a 135 Jefferson. I'll end up deleting this, but you can see I already have one at that exact address. So that's completely possible, you know. However, and this is just my recommendation, I would keep all the photos in the same overall project, treat that as the umbrella for that address. And I would utilize the tags because, so say I'm in a dining room or doing window work or whatever, I could start what we call a tagging session. And I didn't want to get too in the weeds today, but basically what that tagging session does is that is going to tie whatever tag I choose or tags I choose to all the photos I take until I tell it I'm done doing that. So maybe I'm taking window photos or dining room photos, and I say, okay, dining room is the tagging session. I'm going to keep taking photos in the dining room until I'm tell it to stop. Every photo will be tagged dining room. So then what's great is I don't have any photos in this project, but then you could go into that project and then you could say, okay, I'm in the project and now I just want to filter by a specific tag. And so what's awesome is I could come in here, I'm in the project, and I just want those dining room photos, or maybe I just want window photos. I'm now able to filter those down to where I can see, oh, I just get those photos. So that's, you know, just a really nice way to kind of create subfolders within your specific. So I would just go here and then tags. Wasn't any, weren't any. But you get the idea. Like you would just filter by tags. Obviously, I don't know what's in this particular project, but you can see here bathroom, bedroom. So you could just filter that way. So it's kind of everything lives in one folder. So you're not trying to jump project to project, but you could then filter down and get kind of that subfolder within that project.
You know, Michael, I love, if I'm looking at one thing of this, I think I love the saying that a picture, you know, has there's 1,000 words you can get from that picture, right? So pictures are great. I think in this world where we have all this now virtual selling that's going to take place, but what I see this as also is that number one, I know you guys can integrate with a lot of different things, and so to our customers on this call, please understand that, you know, this is versatile. Don't think, oh well, I didn't see it on there. You know, that's where Michael and then we'll take a look and see where they can integrate whatever software you may be using. It may be a different thing, right? But I love it to the fact that I'm a homeowner. You said in the beginning you were a homeowner, which is great, right? We're all homeowners. So you think about it from that way, take that from the lens of it. How many homeowners love to show somebody the work that's being done in their house and they can give people a timeline on that? It's so cool to be able to see all those things. But at the same time, you know, it's the same reason we kind of came up with our Lansing delivery app that we have, where you don't have to be on the job site to receive the material. And we send you pictures of everything on the job site so you know what's there, where it was placed, things of that nature. That app helps tie into CompanyCam as well. So all of that can be integrated. I'd love to get with you to see if somehow we can pull that data, you know, in there as well to drop on the site.
Absolutely. No, I think definitely a future call with you, I assume that you talking, Kevin,
Yep.
would be
Yep.
of great value. And yeah, when you look at our integrations, they may be limited. Like you may say, it's fairly limited. But if you look at that from a roofer's perspective, we're pretty much crushing the game on a roofing perspective. We're starting to really get a nice mix on restoration. And the reason we don't have some of those others on there is not because we don't want to. It's just because we haven't had those requests. And so as we get those requests, it's really simple for us to start a conversation and say, hey, we want to integrate. We have a mutual client that says this would make their lives easier. Let's get this integration done. And usually, as you can see, we get quite a few of these done. So,
well, everybody, you know, pictures are agnostic, right? So everybody's got a smartphone nowadays. There's always a camera on. I always say, let's look at social media and the media, right? So there's always somebody's always got a way to capture something. But I think it does tell more of a story through a picture versus than just all the verbiage, right? So I think people can make decisions for themselves what they're looking for. So Michael, I think this is great. You know, really appreciate the partnership and the fact that we'll be continuing working together with you and to all of our Lansing customers. Please don't forget to utilize your in-house marketing department. So that customer.marketing@lansingbp.com goes to not only myself, but also our marketing services team. So we are there to help direct you, bring you things like CompanyCam, and we work directly with Michael and then Jim at James Hardy as well. So again, Michael, this is hugely, I think this is awesome. I thought I knew enough about what y'all did beforehand, but I learned a ton from this, and it's just exciting to have this type of technology able for our customers to be able to, integrate into their systems. So I think this is amazing stuff. So again, thank you. On behalf of Lansing Building Products, thank you for that, Jim. Thank you for getting us partnered with Michael and CompanyCam. So I just think this is very, very useful information, and I know we're right at the hour, so I want to be respectful of everybody. But again, do not hesitate to reach out to any of us if we can be of more help to you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having us on. The only thing I would add is if you do sign up for that trial, you're going to get somebody that's willing to go in depth and train you on the product. Feel free to ask them for an SOP. I've built an SOP that's customizable, but they can get you that as well to really help put CompanyCam into full use for your company.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone, for joining. We'll let you get back to your regularly scheduled program. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. See y'all later.
That's great.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. Be safe.